Florence Linda Agostini, née Platt, the 12th of September 1905, the 27th of August 1934, known posthumously as the Pajama Girl, was an English-Australian homicide victim found on a stretch of road in Albury, New South Wales, Australia, in September 1934. Life. Linda Agostini was born Florence Linda Platt in Forest Hill, a suburb of southeast London, on the 12th of September 1905. As a teenager, Platt worked at a confectionery shop in Surrey before traveling to New Zealand at the age of 19 after what was rumored to be a broken romance. Platt remained in New Zealand until 1927 when she moved to Australia to live in Sydney. There she worked at a cinema in the city and lived in a boarding house on Darlinghurst Road in King's Cross, where accounts tell she entertained young, attractive men. Platt was a heavy drinker and a jazz-age partygoer who had difficulty adjusting to stability. Her marriage to Italian-born Antonio Agostini, 1903–1969, in a Sydney registry office during 1930, was the beginning of an unhappy time that would see the couple leave for Melbourne to remove her from the influence of her Sydney friends. Discovery and initial investigation. Agostini disappeared from friends and family in late August 1934, around a week before the unidentified Pajama Girl was found in Splitters Creek, near Albury, on the New South Wales side of the border with Victoria. The victim's body was discovered by a local man named Tom Griffith. Griffith had been leading a prize ball along the side of Howlong Road near Albury when he saw the body in a culvert running under the road and noticed a strong smell of kerosene. Slightly concealed by a Hessian grain sack and badly burned, the body would not have been visible to anybody driving by. The victim's head was wrapped in a towel. She had been badly beaten and an X-ray revealed a bullet in her neck. In a detail that came to define the case, she was wearing yellow silk pajamas with a Chinese dragon motif. In Depression-era Australia, such clothing was luxurious, youthful and bohemian. It soon became apparent that the body was of a petite woman in her 20s, but her identity could not be established. After the initial investigation failed to identify her, the body was taken to Sydney where it was put on public exhibition. She was preserved in a bath of formalin for this purpose at the Sydney University Medical School, until 1942, when her body was transferred to police headquarters where it remained until 1944. Several names were suggested for the identity of the dead woman, among them Anna Philomena Morgan and Linda Agostini. Both women were missing, both bore a likeness to the Pajama Girl, and both were of the right age. However, New South Wales police satisfied themselves that neither of the missing women was the Pajama Girl and she remained unidentified. Reopening of the case in 1944, 10 years after the body had been discovered, the forensic evidence was re-examined and the dental analysis of the victim was matched to Agostini. Tony Agostini had recently returned to Sydney after being held in internment camps at Orange, Hay and Lovedale from 1940 to 1944 due to his nationalist sympathies. The police commissioner, William Mackay, who had known him before the war when he worked as a waiter at the restaurant that Mackay frequented, interviewed him. Noticing that he seemed to be in a nervous state, Mackay asked him what had come over him. Antonio Agostini then confessed to killing his wife. In his statement, he admitted that he had accidentally shot and killed his wife when they were living in Melbourne. Worried that he might be accused of murder, he had driven the body over the state border to Albury and had dumped it in the culvert. He had poured petrol over the body and set fire to it, to destroy the evidence. The identification came just as public confidence in the New South Wales police force began to wane at their failure to catch the decade's most prolific killer. The circumstances under which Antonio Agostini confessed to killing his wife in their Melbourne townhouse are still very dubious today. The arrest of Agostini was a sensation, as it meant that the Pajama Girl had been identified. He was charged with murder and was extradited to Melbourne, where he was tried for murder. He was acquitted but was found guilty of manslaughter instead, and was sentenced to 6 years imprisonment. He was released in 1948 and deported to Italy, where he died in 1969. New evidence the case might have been left there, but some cast doubt on its conclusion. In his 2004 book, The Pajama Girl Mystery, A True Story of Murder, Obsession and Lies, historian Richard Evans pointed out discrepancies with the evidence, calling Antonio Agostini's conviction the result of police corruption and a miscarriage of justice. The pajama girl had brown eyes. Agostini's were blue. The victim had a different bust size to Agostini and she had a different shaped nose. Evans also points out that 125 women were originally on the police's list of possible identities, but that these other leads remained uneliminated and untraced. Evans also suggests that Agostini was murdered around the same time as the Albury victim, and most likely in the confines of the couple's Melbourne townhouse, but that she was not the pajama girl. Adaptations. The case was turned into a short film, The Pajama Girl Murder Case, in 1939 by director Rupert Kathner. A film entitled La Ragazza del Pijamagallo, The Pajama Girl Case, directed by Italian Flavio Mogherini, was produced in 1977. A book written by Hugh Geddes, based on the film and bearing the same title, appeared in 1978. A short film by Canberra filmmaker Huck Tyrrell, entitled Roadside, was produced in 1998 and inspired by the murder. In the film, the victim returns as a hitchhiker who tells her story to the unsuspecting driver and eventually leads him to her remains. In 2013, the Hothouse Theatre in Albury-Wodonga commissioned a play entitled The Pajama Girl from Canberra playwright Emma Gibson, which it performed. See also List of solved missing persons cases. References. External links: 2015 Daily Telegraph article.